Hello and welcome to Smaulgld. In case you missed it, top gold and silver stories for the week ended April 8th, 2017. Lacquer leaks before Trump Tomahawks. There was a lot going on last week. Let's get right to it. Trump reverses course, orders Tomahawk missile strike on Syria. Richmond Fed President Jeffrey Lacquer resigns after admitting leaking confidential information, and gold and silver prices whipsaw amidst all this news. And there's more to come. Neil Gorsuch was confirmed to the Supreme Court by a vote of 54 to 46. The Republicans avoided a filibuster by evoking what they call the nuclear option, but it really isn't. It was just a rule change. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you have to have 60 votes in the Senate to approve a senator. They approved him with a simple majority of 54 to 46. That was expected, so that's not that big of a deal. But the big deal of the week was Trump sending Tomahawk missiles into Syria. Now, Trump had been a very vocal opponent of foreign intervention. He spoke about it on the campaign trail. He spoke about America first. He spoke about how the United States needs to rebuild things at home, should not be getting involved overseas. And indeed, when the Obama administration was angling to create a war in Syria and remove President Assad, Donald Trump was a very vocal critic of that action back in 2013. He said, what will we get? Here's a guy named Hadriac Hennigan. He compiled all of Donald Trump's emails, tweets at the time. And Trump was saying, what will we get for bombing Syria besides more debt and potential long-term conflict? Obama needs congressional approval. He also said, I'm saying stay out of Syria. He says the only reason Obama wants to attack Syria is to save face over his very dumb red line statement. Do not attack Syria. President Obama, do not attack Syria. There's no upside, an enormous downside. Save your powder for another more important day. Another tweet. Don't attack Syria. An attack will bring nothing but trouble for the U.S. Focus on making our country strong and great again. So you can see it wasn't a one-off comment. Donald Trump was taking to Twitter during the fall, August, September period of 2013 for a 2 or 3 week period, urging Obama not to bomb Syria. Well, then what happens? That's the prelude. The act, he bombed Syria. Okay. Now, prior to him bombing Syria, it was a very quick change of events, because a few days earlier, the administration said that they're moving past Syria. They don't think Assad has to leave. And then Bannon was out, and then they brought in his son-in-law Kirshner. And during that time period, there was a gas attack, which they immediately had pictures of children, sarin attack, and then the media went into overdrive. John McCain was out calling for airstrikes. CNN was advocating the U.S. needed to do something. And old Hillary Clinton came out, and she advocated for airstrikes. And then airstrikes happened. Donald Trump announced that he would be sending, or he had sent, Tomahawk missiles in to destroy the supposed staging ground where the gas attacks had been staged from. Now, Donald Trump, at the end of his speech, it was kind of interesting. He then said that we need to...
And God bless America and the entire world. Thank you.
I never heard a president say that before. I always say God bless America. But in the entire world, there was kind of a globalist ring to that. And it also, very out of character for Donald Trump. If it's America first, he's blessing the entire world. And he had been totally opposed to this type of action. Now, why did he do it? Well, maybe he was isolated and he was read the Riot Act. Maybe he was given something to do this. Maybe it's public vindication. to give him public vindication, they had nothing to do with Russia, which is not very probably hard to give him. But my initial thought when it happened was that he had come to this conclusion himself, that the best way, wag the dog, the best way to kind of get this Russia thing settled once and for all and off his plate was to do something that Russia wouldn't like, which was to directly or nearly directly engage them in Syria. And then I thought, well, maybe he kind of was offered something, as I just mentioned, or maybe even worse, he was told that this is what had to happen, that the entire establishment lined up around him and basically said, look, you're not getting anywhere unless you take care of this right here and now. And looks like he changed it. Now, it could also be it came from him, because as I've mentioned about Donald Trump, is everything with him is a deal, it's a negotiation, it's not necessarily guided by principle. All you have to do is look at the healthcare deal that went under. After it went under, the Freedom Caucus then became his enemy. The Freedom Caucus was driven by principle. He didn't like that. They messed up his deal, so they became his enemy. And then he said, I'll work with Democrats. That just shows that he loves deals. To him, a bad deal is probably better than no deal. I know he says know when to walk away, but to him, walk away means walk away and then come back or go get another deal. He has to have a deal. And he said he'll work with Democrats. He'll go wherever the deal is, which makes him dangerous, in my opinion, because he's vulnerable to bad deals. He might have thought this made sense politically. He's even talked about why letting Obamacare fail might be a good deal, but then I'll help him get a deal. So he's not necessarily interested, or doesn't seem to be interested in getting the most principled deal. He's interested in getting the best deal, and that could be the best deal for himself, the best deal for the country. The two can be conflicting. Who knows what's going to happen? But this is a case where it was very clear that Donald Trump was against going into Syria, and then he went into Syria. So we'll see how it goes. But this is all part of my theory of Trump turmoil, because not only does he create turmoil just by his kind of off-the-cuff remarks or keeping people off balance by throwing things out there, but that he can also kind of throw things into turmoil. Excuse me. He can throw things into turmoil by changing his position in a total 180. One of the things markets like is some type of certainty. If you think your president is not going to invade Syria and then he invades Syria, well, that sets a problem where you can't trust necessarily what he says and conduct or arrange your affairs around that. All right, top economic story of the week. Richmond Fed president resigns as Fed post amid leaking scandal. We can take a look at his statement here. What he did, now, it sounds like, according to his statement, that he didn't leak information directly. He didn't get the analysts together and say, hey, the Fed's going to do QE. What he says was, I regret the role I may have played in confirming confidential information dissemination to Medley subscribers. So basically, he was saying that something came up. Now, I don't know how it could have just come up, but the analysts basically raised the potential of a particular course of action. So he said that during the discussion he had with the analyst introduced, why is he talking to an analyst anyway, but that's beside the point. The analyst introduced into the conversation an important non-public detail about one of the public policy options considered by the members of the Fed Open Market Committee prior to the meeting. And then it says, due to the highly confidential and sensitive nature of this information, I should have declined to comment and perhaps ended the phone call. Instead, I did not refuse or express my inability to comment, and the interview continued. Basically, he's trying to say, I didn't really leak anything. It was kind of incidental. It was unintentional, but I'm going to resign anyway. And, that's his punishment. He gets to resign. And there goes Fed President Richmond Fed President Jeffrey Lacker. Now, he was due to leave in a few months anyway. That's your Federal Reserve for you. All right, the other big news in economics was there was a big non-farm payroll miss. All right, let's get to the gold and silver. We have a lot of gold and silver stories to go through, so maybe want to take a break, pause it, because we're going to go through a lot of the things that happened in the gold and silver market this past week. So gold closed up a very small amount, 0.3%. That was at 1253. Silver actually closed down. And because of the movement in silver, silver had been up well over $18 an ounce during Friday, and then it got slammed down all the way below 18. It ended at 1796, down 1.5% on the week. And that meant that the gold silver ratio that had been below 70 crept right back up towards 70 and closed the week at 69.69 to 1. So gold managed to hold its gains. We're going to take a look at some charts. We're going through this chronologically during the week. So when we get to April 7th, you'll see the dramatic chart swings for gold and silver. Here's your pitch to donate to Smaulgld via PayPal. You can donate also via Bitcoin. There's links below. There you can do that. And you can also become a Patreon. Okay. Tweet of the week. Well, this was just a follow-up on kind of my ongoing commentary on the portion of the alternative financial media constantly touting skyrocketing silver and gold prices and collapses and so on. And generally I view that as a come on to subscribe or to buy silver. And someone had made a comment on Twitter about the phone menu, and I put hit 1 to subscribe, hit 2 to buy silver, hit 3 to be put in touch with a bunker specialist. Gloom and doom. There's a pitch to buy silver, though. If you are interested in buying silver, you can do so through the Smaulgld site. I don't tout the efficacy of gold or silver, but I know that the people who follow this channel do follow silver, do like gold. It's not investment advice. And if you're interested in buying gold, I try to give you the information to make a decision. But of course, it's not the only information. You should conduct all your due diligence before you make any investment. But if you are going to buy gold or silver, please consider buying it through the Smaulgld site, through the links below. There's 4 or 5 different bullion dealers. You can compare pricing and shipping. And if you buy, Smaulgld gets a small commission. It's another way to help out the website and keep this type of information analysis flowing. So I did a lot of blog posts this week. We'll go quickly through them. That's the purpose of this blog post also, is to give you a week in review. I did a gold rises against all world currencies in 2017 in the first quarter. In that blog post, and I'll have to put a link to the video there, but you can see it on YouTube as well. I went through and created charts, or I had Nick Laird from Gold Charts or Us commissioned charts for me for Smaulgld that shows the price of gold in local currencies and about a dozen or so currencies. And in the first quarter, gold actually rose most against the US dollar and didn't rise as much against other currencies. That's mainly a function of the US dollar weakening during the first quarter. Another article was, we now cover Kazakhstan on a monthly basis. And Kazakhstan is ramping up its gold purchases, so you can check out that story as well. Oh, here's quickly what those charts look like if you want to check them out. And again, they're a lot easier to see. You can go to you can see the that's the YouTube, but you can see them on the YouTube, but you can see the charts much better on the Smaulgld website. There's a gold in Australian dollars, gold in Brazilian reals, British pounds. Anyway, you can go through and check those yourself. Kazakhstan, as we mentioned, ramping up its gold purchases in February. We also covered the American Silver Eagle sales. They slipped to 10-year low in March. All the details are at that link and in the YouTube. Chris Powell of GATA was on CNBC. That's a worthwhile interview to check out. I have a link there. U.S. economic data, again, so-so. You can check all the economic data. Whatever the U.S. government releases, I blurb here. Oftentimes, taking from Zero Hedge does a nice job of just pulling out the headline. Fed chatter, more guys talking about Fed rate hikes. This guy Harker saying nothing compelling now for move at next meeting, but he still thinks 3 rate hikes this year would be appropriate. They've already done 1, so he thinks there'll be 2 more. There was only one U.S. Mint sales update this week, just one, and it wasn't very good. And so remember, we're now through the first week of April, and this is the one report. 255 American Silver Eagles sold and 1,500 American Gold Eagles. Poor sales continue. There's your month-to-date and year-to-date numbers. Again, you can buy gold and silver through Smaulgld. And the U.S. Mint just sold 600 of the Beautiful coins and 9,700 of they sold 600 of the effigy Mound coin and 9,700 of the Frederick Douglass coin. Now, if they don't sell, and they might not, any more of the effigy mounds, this would be the lowest or the second to lowest mintage coin. So you can still get this one. And I know that the one with the lowest mintage, which is around 20,000, I don't know if it's 20,000 on the nose or 20,600. You can check out the link right here. I can open it up while we're waiting. And that coin goes for about $350, $360 right now. And these coins now cost about $3, $4 over spot. They're 5-ounce coins, so they go for about $100, $110, $20. But the Hawaiian Volcano one, which has a similar mintage, is now selling for $360,000. You can buy that coin there as well. Same thing applies, not investment advice. But if you buy one or two, or as many you buy, Smaulgld will get a small commission. And that's it. Gold buffaloes, only 1,000 sold so far this month. So basically, they sold 1,000 gold buffalo coins in the first week, and 1,500 American Gold Eagle coins on the 1-ounce size. So that's not very good. Let's quickly check that. Let's see. I know I have the list. Yeah, there was 20,000 Hawaiian Volcano sold, no more, no less. 22,000 of the Arches National Park. These and the Grand Sand Dunes, those two coins also have very high premiums. So it looks like, I don't think that the effigy Mounds coin is really going to get much past, certainly probably won't get to 30,000. All right, what else happened during the week? American Gold Eagle sales, as we mentioned, dipped. There's the full report there. There is my plea for social justice. You can click on that and see what I'm talking about. That is the opening of the Patreon account and a request for Patreons. And you can check that out at your leisure. Global debt rose to 325% of the world's gross domestic product in 2016, ridiculously high emerging markets. More U.S. economic data, at least the trade deficit fell. Factory orders came in in line with expectations. Turkey to introduce sovereign bonds and gold lease certificates. We covered a full, you'll see in a second, we did a full review of the Turkish gold situation. Also on this date, lacquer quit after leaking confidential information. And on April 5th, we released the American Gold Buffalo sales. They were up, but you see it's 8,500. They were up from last year, but that's just in a month, and it really wasn't a good month. So nothing to write home about. Now, I did a full review of the Turkish gold situation, talking about the president urging its citizens to buy gold. You could check that out on YouTube or at the Smaulgld channel. Some more stories, how much gold is in the James Webb Space Telescope. SRS Rocco did a story on record U.S. silver imports as consumption declines. He asked, where did the silver go? You can check that out at that link. War on cash. Here's good news. The German economy minister said cash must stay even in digital age. And Mario Draghi noted that 75% of Eurozone payments are made in cash, and that remains essential for the economy despite the rise in digital payments. So it may appear that at least the Eurozone is backing away from going fully digital. Payrolls looked okay from the ADP perspective, but we'll see when we move to the non-farm payroll released by the U.S. Department of Bureau of Labor Statistics. They were not very good at all. On this date also, the Fed released their March FOMC minutes, and they warned of a bubble. That kind of spooked the market. Also, we then had the Syrian bombing, Hillary the day before the bombing urging airstrikes, and then Trump followed through. That was on the 5th, but on the 6th is when in the evening when Trump followed through. Perth Mint sales, silver sales were okay in Perth Mint. They weren't bad like the U.S. Mint was. They're about 750,000. You could check out all of the Perth Mint sales data on the site or at the YouTube channel. But the gold sales were not very good, just 22,000 ounces. But as low as they were, the Perth Mint did sell more gold than the U.S. Mint in March, which is very rare for the Perth Mint to outsell the U.S. Mint. This link I mentioned last week that we don't really know what the status is of the Fed holdings of those mortgage-backed securities. Coincidentally, Zero Hedge actually managed to get hold of that information, and it's at that link. Now, April 7th, the day on Friday, you can see that there's your gold-silver ratio, but I think I should have had the gold price there. I'll get that up for a sec. But there's your silver price. So you can see in the evening, boom, the silver price goes flying high on the announcement of the Syrian airstrikes. It kind of stays up there, and then around noon on Friday, boom, it goes down and actually closed lower. This chart here, I'll just pull it up for you here. This is the gold-silver ratio. It should be a it should be the gold daily chart. And you'll see gold did not get hit as much as the silver price did. And another reason for gold and silver to have risen, besides the turmoil created by Trump's airstrike, the non-farm payroll is a huge miss. Only 98,000 jobs created. Expectations were to be 180,000. Wages were flat. Wholesale inventories were also just in line with expectations. So should have been a good day for gold and silver, but it wasn't. Anyway, let's go to the live gold price and take a look at that one-day chart for gold on Friday. And this is, you can go to these charts. We have live gold prices, and we have them. There's a live gold chart. You can see it went up. Actually, it went up more than silver. You can see it's a much bigger line going up for gold, and then its drop wasn't as bad on Friday as well, and actually closed up on the day and up on the week. And that about does it. Oh, yes, before we go on, there's a poll. So the questions are, do you approve of Trump's airstrike? Yes, no, not sure. But then I want to find out, and you guys want to know, were you a Trump supporter before the airstrike on Syria? And then, why did Donald Trump change his stance on Syria? The pictures of the gas attack broke his heart. He wanted to shut down the Russian collusion story. He was offered a deal. He was told. Or he didn't change his stance. Trump always intended to use the military. Or other. So please check that out. Please vote. You can do that by going to the website. I'll put a link below this video. And thank you very much for listening.